All right, today we are gonna be doing some Windows utility work. Big changes in that realm. The Windows utility will have, oh gosh, it is a massive overhaul. Martin and Drift User have been putting together an overhaul of the install, and we want to implement that today. We'll see how that goes. I think we'll have a dev branch build and see a complete overhaul of installing things, which should be pretty good. I also want to look at Winget and implementing my pull request and then working through all the pull requests. Maybe some issues. We'll go through the issues, see if anything pops up, but that's kind of on the agenda for the development of Windows utility today, where we did Linux utility last time. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. As far as live streams too, I should be live streaming more. I'm just going to try and do it mostly on Twitch and then just do members only on YouTube, just so I can have a record of it. And if there's any YouTube members that join in, that's cool too. But that's the whole purpose of it. A lot of people ask why. I decided that way, and it's just more for me just to have a good record of it, but also not as much stress. Keeping up with both platforms can be tiring. So that's about it. We should have that. I think what else? Total stream length, I'm hoping for between 2 and 3 hours. I'm thinking. We'll see. Sometimes it goes over, sometimes it's less, but usually that's kind of what I'm thinking for that. Hey, Phantom, how you doing? Yeah, I was like, I don't even know if my notifications are working anymore. It's been so long. Am I doing this thing right? I tell you. But yeah. I'm mostly getting back into it, mostly to increase my productivity. I found when I was doing streaming more, I was producing a lot more on my products. I mean, heck, the repos on GitHub, I was just getting a lot more done. Whatever happened to that SM7B I had? Well, glad you asked, Phantom. It's right there. That's where the SMB ended up. Occasionally, I might pull it back out. I don't know. The SM7B, I feel like this is a high PR40. I feel like it gives a more natural sound. The SM7B gives it more that deep radio sound. And I don't know. I'd like both, honestly. What do you think? Phantom, do you like the sound of the SM7B compared to the PR40? Yeah. I have to do some treatment of the SM7B because I find it's a little bit more muddy. I definitely treat that midsection so it brings that up, so I get more of a pop or a clarity in the voice, because it's it has a tendency to kind of muddy up the voice, and I don't like that. I like as much clarity as you can get. So that's the kind of thing. Shortcut creation coming back. Oh man, that shortcut creation was just so. This is such a Windows thing. You're gonna laugh your butt off. But look at this. I got so many reports, and almost like a victim of my own success here. But people trust antivirus without question. And anytime it flags it as a virus, people think poorly of me. So what ended up happening, here, let's just go virus. Is this, let's see. I might have closed those issues. Let's go to just virus. Yeah. Here we go. Yeah, you can see all the closed ones. I'm just done with this. So what ended up happening, I added a little thing to where you could just click a button and it would add a shortcut on your desktop. Sounds cool, right? And I mean, I was just trying to be helpful, and people like the shortcut. But antiviruses saw this as something viruses, apparently it's common code. And since antiviruses really don't check your computer for viruses, I can easily engineer a virus to infect your computer without having any antivirus pop up anything. So first off, is antivirus a proper defense mechanism? No, not at all. Should you have an antivirus in Windows? Yes, especially if you are less tech savvy. I think it's very important to have them. They can be good and they can prevent some stupid things. But the best antivirus is always the user. So there's that too. Anyways, I say all this to be like, anytime with that kind of code in here, I will just get blown up with issues about, hey, this is a virus. Here's another virus. This is, yeah, I mean, just so many little things. Is JDownloader's malware. Really? Yeah, I had to remove JDownloader because apparently WinGet wasn't properly filtering it. Anyways, as you can see, I see a lot of issues for viruses. As much as I hate it, it is what it is. So the other thing is removing Windows Defender also flags the utility. Back in the day, the utility actually had a way to disable Windows Defender, but every antivirus would flag it as a virus. So I had to remove those two features, mostly because of that. Yeah. What networking stack do you use? Unify, Microtech? Amar, it depends on the setup. I often change my networking stack. If I don't want to mess with it and I just kind of wanted to set it, forget it, and I just was like, I need to set this up in an hour or two and just not worry about it, usually Unify. It's expensive. It doesn't, not very feature rich, but it works really well, and it's, you know, a monkey can set up a unified network stack pretty easy. And if I want to go a little bit deeper and I want more features, I want more granular control, and I really want to mess with more on the networking stack of things, I really like pfSense for the gateway. And I know it's already the open source crowd's like, what about OpenSense? Nah, OpenSense sucks compared to pfSense. I'm sorry, I've used both. pfSense every day of the week. I just will die on that hill. And then for like switches and things of that nature, I really like Microtech. It's okay. It's cheap. If I can get sponsored and grab like some really expensive stuff, that would be cool. But, or maybe some secondhand expensive stuff. I've used that in the past. It just depends. But I stay away from HP. I used to really like the, what was it, a ProCurve? I can't remember that networking switch. I used to really like HP actually, but lately they merged and made like this Aruba product line, and it's just not good. That's the best way to put it. It's just too bloated and gross. So Microtech is cheap as could get. This is as cheap as you could go. So if you're on a budget, Microtech with like a pfSense is like nice, but you have to have some time to configure that and really understand more of the nuances of networking. So maybe if you don't know what like tree spanning and those types of things are, you might want to just stick with Unify because it's hard to screw that up. But if you really want to go with that, you know, I could sit here and chat all day about networking stacks. I'm not necessarily very good at networking, but I understand a lot of the basics, and probably like more intermediate. So I usually, when I get down to it, I'm like, oh, hey, we need to get this. And once it gets into a certain level, I'll usually just go with the network engineer and go, okay. But that's usually like big business, thousands of users and stuff. So here at the house, that's kind of my two takes. It depends on the day. How do you check the list of most liked repos on GitHub, comparing your WinTool to the rest of Microsoft? Well, it depends. Like, there's a bunch of different ones out there. So, oh man, OpenWRT, that is something I haven't heard in a long time. That is a name I have not heard for ages. Yeah, OpenWRT is kind of crap these days from what I remember. It's not really open. it's just WRT, and I think it's subscription based or some crap now. But I do remember, like, what was it, the WRT 54G? Oh, God, what a Chad of a router that was. But that's going back like 20 years. So that's not really a thing anymore, I don't think. Last time I looked at OpenWRT, it was pretty much hot garbage. Dumpster fire. Anyways, sorry. Getting back, the tool. What I like to do, I think it was Evan Lee that did it. Top, I think it was just PowerShell, GitHub. Yeah, I was using Evan Lee's GitHub rankings repo for it. So we have a commanding lead in the PowerShell language. We are #1 by almost 10,000 stars, with Scoop being 21,000 below it. But there is some new spots here. I saw a up and coming one that was coming through. That was a debloat. Win 11 debloat. So this is another one. This guy's been gaining stars like crazy. So I think a lot of people have made videos on this one as well. A more simplistic, all CLI based approach to debloating. I was like, that's cool. So I love people that take some of the things, and more of these are popping up, which is cool. But yes, that's how I track some of it for the up and coming. I got a new 2 terabyte drive. I want to dual boot Windows 11 and Arch Linux. How should I allocate? How much should I allocate to each of them? 1 and 1. Why not do 1 terabyte, 1 terabyte? Easy as you can get. I probably would go like ext4 for the partitioning for the Arch Linux install, just because it's going to be easier to work with. And Windows 11, if you're sharing that, install Windows first and then install Linux. And some of the updates might break Windows 11, the EFI boot, so I've made some videos about that. Opinion on the Firefox drama boss. No, I kind of stay away from the drama because a lot of people just farm it for the views on YouTube. But I'm kind of over farming views on YouTube, and I don't know. I'm just a terrible YouTuber. So I don't really cover any news topics. But for this, if it's just this, my initial take is, yeah, to be expected mostly, because when it comes to Firefox, you got to remember they were making, I want to say the contract with Google was $80 million. So yeah, they had $80 million with Google that they lost because of the anti-monopoly antitrust. So they needed to make up a shortfall of about $80 million to stay afloat. I don't think they're going to be able to do it. And I think, honestly, here in a couple years, we're going to be talking about Firefox the way we talk about Netscape browser. So they're just trying to make money any way they can, and they can't do anything about it. So, you know, for you people that love Firefox, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It's kind of ironic that the antitrust people killing the monopoly of Google essentially solidifies the monopoly Google has because Firefox, is now forced to essentially probably close their doors. So I think we'll see the death of Firefox here in the next couple of years, because they just can't make up the shortfall of revenue that they lost. Because I think last time I looked at their revenue sheets, it was well over, I think it was like 60-70% of revenue came from Google, compared to the rest of their revenues from like advertising and things of that nature. So, have you seen Warp Terminal? Oh God, I got something to tell you guys. I probably shouldn't publicize this, so it's just going to be on this live stream. It's not going to be a YouTube video. I actually had a sponsorship with Warp. I know, I don't really do sponsorships, but Warp Terminal seemed very interesting to me. Very interesting. And I really liked the blocks feature and some other functions of Warp Terminal. So I sent them a contract. I wrote the whole contract and the legalese and everything behind it. So I know I'm not going to get sued for saying this out loud. They signed it. We went into a sponsorship. Sponsorship was for $5,000 for the video and $1,000 for a banner ad on christitus.com. So about $6,000 in total of contract fees. Long story short, that I dissolved it, terminated it because of some of the dealings with Warp. So I never collected any money, and I was the one to do the contract. And it wasn't like necessarily like I hated Warp or anything. The thing about it was when I was doing the video for Warp, and I thought I painted Warp in a pretty good light. There was some bugs and some things I didn't necessarily like. It wasn't necessarily as performant as like a standard Windows terminal. And also the like, you compare it to an Alacrity, it's a joke when it comes to size. But the blocks feature and some of the filtering was good. And there's other feature of it that I thought was good too. The AI side of things I thought was kind of gimmicky. So I kind of brushed over it, and that's where they make most of their money, on the monthly fee. So they necessarily did not like that I didn't go in depth and really try and sell it. And I didn't try and sell it because I didn't think it was a very good feature. And then I think they also, I glazed over their Warp Drive, which is another feature of it, which was kind of cool. I mean, it was neat. It had some like markdown files you could put on the side. And that was okay. But it wasn't like, again, a selling feature, but that was another one, how they make money. And they didn't like that I kind of glassed over it pretty fast, 30 seconds to a minute usually, and I think the video I sent them. So at the end of the day, they were like, yeah, you need to expand these things. And I was like, okay. So then I tried to expand on some of those things, and I was like, yeah, I can put up some stuff. So then I did that. And as I was doing more of it in the Warp Drive sense of thing, I got into their workflows and I started finding more bugs. And then I was like, I don't think I can make this video. I just don't. And then I started going through. I'm like, let me just power through and see what I can come up with. And I need to be happy with the video. And then I got done with the second draft of the video. I watched it back and I was like, I'm having bugs with the theming on the actual Warp terminal. It did not have a good integration with Oh My Posh. It didn't think it was very performant, and I needed to relay that to the end user. Any viewer that watches my video, I want to be able to look back on that video and have a definitive view on it to where I'm proud of that product. I really do. I want to, every video I make, I want to look back and I'm like, I stand by that video. And I looked at it and I was like, man, I was struggling. I was just kind of on the fence back and forth with it, about to send it to him. And then I was like, well, let me see the other videos on the internet about Warp Terminal, because, they contract with many other YouTubers. And then I saw they had a contract with Dave Plummer, the retired Microsoft engineer. Now, in most people's opinion of Dave is a positive one. I have an overwhelming negative opinion of him, for a variety of reasons, mostly stemming from he lost a lawsuit in the case in the early 2000s for some software he was selling, and had to pay $400,000 worth of restitution for millions of customers that were very, very not happy with some of the, I'm just going to call it what it was, malware that he was peddling at the time. And then I looked at his Warp Terminal video, and my first draft that I sent them was denied. And then I looked at what they published from him, and I was like, I thought his video was rather terrible. And I was kind of offended at that point. And I was like, I really don't think I can work with this company. And I was like, that got approved, but my video did not. And from that point, I was like, I'm done. I just cannot do any more sponsorships. And that's what happened with Warp Terminal. Is it a good product? Yeah. I honestly think Warp Terminal is a decent product. And I think some niche use cases that I might still pull up Warp Terminal from time to time. Will it be my primary terminal? No. It's just too big, too bulky, and I don't think their pricing model is feasible for the long term. So I turned down roughly $6,000 for that, and I don't think I'll take another sponsorship for the rest of my YouTube career until I eventually just die out. So that's kind of my thought process there, and also kind of why I just don't really make very many YouTube videos anymore. Is a lot of the money comes from sponsorships and those types of things, especially for mid-sized creators like myself. That's where you can actually make money, and I just never have had a really good experience with it. So yeah, that's the short and long of it. I really wish I had something better to tell you, but I don't have anything like super negative to say either. So, are you aware of Foot? Yeah, Foot, in my opinion, is ST for Wayland. Yeah, Ahmed. I don't necessarily like ST or Foot, but I do appreciate their existence, and it definitely is for someone if you want a really no frills experience. I think it's good. Raid Shadow Legends. Man, I hadn't seen an email from them in quite some time. I don't really respond to many emails either, so that's the gist of it. Is your distro's tier list still the same, or would you change anything? Yes, I would change things. I would change things on my tier list. What was my tier? Do I still have the tier list? What was the tier list? Tier maker, I think it was. Let me log in and see if I can't find something. I don't know if I still have my old tier list. Did I use a Google account for this? One second, I'm signing in and seeing if I have anything. Oh, here, let's do a tier list. That's what streamers do. All right, so tier list, Debian, Arch, right? Let me see if I can recreate it. You tell me if it's any good or not. All right, so Supreme, Debian, and Arch. Amazing for new users. I probably would go... You know, I still think Ubuntu is solid, even though I like to crap on Ubuntu all the time for new users. What else we have for a new user? Linux Mint, of course. I think it put Zorn in there. I don't think I agree with that anymore. I would honestly put like a Bazite symbol here and probably put Bazite for amazing for new users too. And that's a bit. Best for business. You know, Ubuntu is not bad for business. Their one patch program, some of the server product from the CLI is actually not bad. The Red Hat, believe it or not, we'll put all the corporate ones there. I've dealt with them from a business perspective. Was this Alma? Can't remember. I think that was Alma Linux. Solid. Or is it Rocky? Shoot. Either one. They're kind of all right there. Alpine is absolutely amazing for business. Great for containerized. Is this CentOS? I think CentOS is dead, so we can just delete that. Certain use cases. I think I put... Let's just make this don't. Let's just put no use. I don't want to offend people. I always get crap from people going, I cannot believe you put this in no use, or I think I put useless, but we're just gonna say no use. Let's not. We're not trying to do clickbaity stuff here. Certain loose. Parrot is good. Kali, everyone loves Kali. Really, just use Parrot if you need like the security features and stuff. Kali is just a bloated mess, in my opinion. You know, I used to love Manjaro, but it's just too meh. If you want to get away from System D, Artix is actually still good. I think that's like TinyCore or something. I can't remember. I think that was a minimal distro from what I remember. I don't remember what that A is. CentOS is no longer. Clear Linux is always like a very niche case. Elementary... Nah, I wouldn't use it at all anymore. Endeavor, no use. Fedora, certain use cases. I don't necessarily recommend it because it's based on RHEL. I would prefer more desktop users there. Farron OS, kind of not really. Not using that. Yeah, I just like... No. Gen 2, certain use cases. MX Linux used to be good, but I just can't get behind it anymore. Can't really get behind that anymore. Nix OS, certain use cases. PC Linux used to be good. No real use case. Peppermint, solid use case. Pop, no use case. Pop might change things once Cosmic gets released and there's some more new use case, but for right now, I don't think. Puppy, no. Slackware. I mean, Slackware is like an OG. I hate to put it here, but nobody's going to actually use it. There's that. Tails, certain use cases for security. Nubara. You know, Nubara is right up there. It's still amazing for new users. Zorin, we're going to put no use. I think these are tiny cores. I don't know these distros, so I'm just going to put them there. And I obviously don't use them. So I guess that's kind of my use case for most distros. So probably something like that would be a more modern tier list. Void is the green one. Oh, okay. So Void would be a non-system D one, and probably has certain use cases. I haven't personally used Void, but yeah, I could definitely see it for some use cases. So just a quick 2-minute breakdown of my modern day tier list probably would look like something like this. So most of these would have no use for me, or there's already a better distro. Like instead of using Kali, using Parrot would probably be a better starting spot for you. Less bloat, less just garbage. Where Parrot's more of a, hey, you're a security researcher, you just want a good starting spot. Parrot's where you should start, not Kali. And yeah, most of these other ones are like Arch spins and Ubuntu spins, and I'm like, dude, just use the one it's based on. So if it's Arch, just use Arch. If it's Debian, just use Debian. You know, unless you need some kind of weird use case. Most of this is just, I still stand by the fact most Linux distros just shouldn't exist anymore. At one time, they might have had a use case, but they just don't anymore. So I know that kind of pisses people off, but that's my thought process. Yeah, Pop, I used to recommend Pop for a lot of new users, but I just don't really anymore. Any update on Looking Glass? I kind of removed that second card, and I just dual boot on the system now. Man, keeping up with the pass-through is just kind of a pain, and I was like, it'd just be easier to reboot than it would to keep this pass-through thing going, so I just ended up 86ing it. For laptops with NVIDIA GPU, like so stability and driver support, what would you recommend? Ooh. Laptops with it, probably an Ubuntu derivative, depending on what you're needing. Like that's a good case for Pop, actually. I know I put Pop as no use, but they actually do have a good NVIDIA spin. Kubuntu does too with some configuration. Laptops are a little weird in that regard too, because some of the optimizations the Ubuntu team has made is actually good for a laptop. I would stay away. It depends on the laptop, though. It really does. Like, there's certain laptops that are just really good from a Linux driver perspective, but it just, man, I really hate laptops, if I'm being honest. I get there's some use cases for them. Like I still use my K-Focus laptop quite often, and I'll use that, but I don't distro hop on it ever because laptops can be very finicky, and almost every laptop has proprietary firmware in them, and updates are not your friend with a lot of laptops. There can be lots of problems that can occur where the desktop is just, hey, where you go. So I just use Arch for everything. Arch and Debian, really. Can I ask how the Twitch chat is in terminal? What are you using for this? Chatterino. There is actually, you can actually use WeChat if you want full on terminal. This isn't actually terminal. You could use just the API key from Twitch and then just get it in terminal. I like Chatterino because we could pull in directly using Streamlink is what it's called. Streamlink. So anyways, Streamlink, instead of actually going on Twitch's website, what you can do is you can pop out Streamlink. It'll take a little bit, and then it'll sit there and spool up the stream. And then in a perfect world, it would shift over into MPV. I don't actually have MPV configured on this specific system. This is a Windows system, but you could install the Streamlink add-in and then probably MPV and then launch directly. And on my Linux system, I have it set up. On my Windows system, I don't use as often. So what happened, Titus? You seem a little down. Yeah, it's been the last couple weeks. It's just been, you know, just slowly getting through things. Nothing really bad, just some unfortunate mishaps here and there. And, you know, you just got to roll with the punches and keep moving forward. So that's what I'm doing. Would you recommend a good file? Oh, yeah, I don't know. File Pilot. I've never used that. I've actually been working out 4 or 5 days a week, so I actually look forward to that. It's really, really good. I recently started looking at tools to debloat Windows and came across Atlas OS. I watched your video and you mentioned it disables security features like Defender. However, as now the default settings no longer remove it. Given that, would you recommend using it? I don't know if I can recommend
look,
using
I want to say,
but
I know you know a lot of super people, so
Atlas
thanks for thanking of me.
Is not bad. Atlas is not bad. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, but I don't want to deter people from using it either. So I'm kind of neutral with Atlas, as I was a little bit more critical of it, but a lot of the critical things and points I made in the Atlas video, they did fix. So I've gone from more negative to actually a neutral one. Jonas, thanks for the Prime. What distro would you recommend for a Ryzen 7800? Man, with that setup, you are set for gaming. You are set for AMD. I like it. I say start with Bazite, Jonas. If you have to ask, I'd say Bazite's a good starting spot for a Linux distro if you want to game a bunch. It has a fantastic default out-of-the-box configuration for gaming. NixOS for servers, yay or nay? That's what it's built for, really. NixOS is amazing, especially if you have to replicate across workstations and servers and you want the same setup at each spot. NixOS is amazing. It's just the setup's a little bit cumbersome, but once you set it up and you have your config file, you're good forever, man. So totally go. Is Kali best for learning cybersecurity? No, Parrot OS Destiny is what you want. I still don't like Kali. The Kali people hate me for saying that, but I think it's bloated. I don't like a lot of the features, and I think a lot of it's gimmicks. It has an amazing following, but Parrot OS, in my opinion, is light years better just because it doesn't have all the BS. Like, it doesn't have a emulate Windows mode like Kali. Like, there's just so many things that Kali does that I'm just like, ew. And if you just need like the burp suite and some of the other, you know, security tools, Parrot's got you covered pretty much out of the box last I checked. How is OpenSUSE for personal use? Good. My time with OpenSUSE was actually pretty good. It's probably in my top 5, actually. So I had, what was it, the Open Build service? I can't remember exactly what it was. That was pretty good. It's like the AUR for Arch. It's a little more niche these days for OpenSUSE, and I don't really like the fact that a company kind of backs it. So I still prefer a more community-run distro like Debian or Arch. But OpenSUSE is not bad. I would probably put it at like number 5 with like Nixo. Like if I had to rank my top 5 for me personally, it would go number 1 Arch, number 2 Debian, number 3 would probably be NixOS, probably. Number 4 would probably be Bazite. There's still some use cases like home theater PC and that type of thing I might want. So 4 would be Bazite. And then 5 would probably be OpenSUSE because the build service is still quite good. And like Yast and some other features of OpenSUSE is pretty solid. So that would be like my top 5 for me personally. After using the tool at startup, Windows stays for 2 minutes on the first boot logo. Any solution to speed up the startup? What you need to do is go into your event viewer, just right click the windows down here, go to event viewer, and you got something going on. So I would come into like custom views, administration events. And from administration events, you're probably going to see some red X's some places. Apparently, I'm seeing it too. Dude, what the hell's going on here? In-tops filter, huh? I'd probably work through some of this. Oh, I think that's a lot of my doing like a custom NVIDIA thing. And NVIDIA likes to run a lot of crap in the background, and I kind of just force it closed. So I probably need to rip out all my NVIDIA drivers and redo like an NV clean install without all the telemetry. I wonder. But basically look for these errors and see exactly like this. Obviously, something's going on with my NVIDIA. So let's go down to services. What do we got? Let's go NVIDIA. What do you got? NVIDIA container store. That is running. It's like closing and opening quite often, so probably something there that I probably need to look at. Let's go details. Let's see what else we got for NVIDIA. Just 2 processes, so that's not awful. Open console.exe. What the hell's that? That's Windows Terminal. Did they? I thought that was named wt.exe. Oh, okay. Never mind. I see. It's just the embedded process. Okay. So anyways, yeah. I probably need to clean this up some more. That's just my tip for the folks out there that need to optimize Windows. What do you think of Windows 12 will be like in 2028? God. It's going to require a lot of work to fix. Every version of Windows just seems to get worse. But hopefully I'm pleasantly surprised. You never know. Like Windows 10, I anticipated being a lot worse than it was. Like coming from Windows 8 to Windows 10, Windows 10 was a good bit better than Windows 8. Especially 8.0 instead of 8.1. 8.1 fixed some stuff, but really Windows 10, I thought, did a pretty good job, at least for the first couple years of its release, before it kind of got bloated down. I think somewhere around after 1709 and 1803, which would have been 2018 era, Windows 10 started to decline. Much like Windows 7. You know, a lot of people have these rose-colored glasses of Windows 7, but they don't realize they're thinking of Windows 7 as it was in like 2010. 2010 was like peak Windows 7, where Windows 7 in like 2015 was this bloated mess, Frankenstein of Windows updates, where it was, you know, a freshly patched system could be as big as 40 gigs worth of just patches and crap from a stock Windows 7 install. So that's my thought on that. Yeah, I'll obviously install Windows 12 as soon as it comes out. Windows 10's going EOL too this year, so most people are going to need to move from that. Hey, bud, how's it going? It is Linux for Apple M chips. Started still a long ways. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to go for Ashita or Acai. I can't remember. I think it's called Acai is how you pronounce it. I probably mispronounced that either way. The lead dev quit from Acai though, so I don't know how that development's going to go. The drama behind it. I don't know why they quit. I wasn't keeping up with it. I don't really keep up too much with the internet drama. I try and stay out of all that stuff. Just because, I mean, most people these days, especially from a YouTube perspective, they will target people, especially people like me, where they'll try and like stir up beef because they want me to respond to them. So, you know, I constantly get people creating like hate videos about me, or, oh, this guy doesn't know anything, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know. After getting attacked so many times as I have, I just block it all out. I'm just like, okay, well. So I don't ever respond to that type of drama. But I don't try and drama farm either. So drama farming always kind of entices those users as well. So usually those people will latch on to like a viral video of yours or something like that, and then try and speak poorly of you, and then try and get you to respond. Azai Linux. That's how I think of it. Pirate Software had a ton of stupid drama recently. Yeah, a lot of that's ego driven though. I think a lot of it is, some people can take criticism and some can't. I honestly was kind of shocked by Pirate and a lot of his stuff. I've always enjoyed all interactions I've ever had with him. But yeah, I think a lot of that was him not taking criticism very well, and then not just going, my bad, and moving on. Some of it was like, I'm going to defend myself. I'm like, eesh, dude, you really stepped in it. But you got to remember, he also didn't make it big for, I mean, he's still pretty young, only like 2 or 3 years of having the viewership he has. So I was kind of shocked when I was like, oh boy, someone needs to talk to him about just accept, you know, take your licks and go, sorry, man. All right, let's move on, and then go on. But man, he just keeps going, no, I'm going to die on this hill. I'm like, that's not the hill to die on. But I've always liked a lot of his stuff. So I don't have anything bad to say about him. All my interactions have always been good, but people love drama. I'm just not into it. Yeah, you never feed the trolls. Just block and ban, move on with your day. That's the best way to go. And he fed the trolls, man. And the trolls were like, delicious drama. We're going to keep going. We're going to double and triple down on this now. I'm like, oh, hate to see it. Walked right into that one. Why did you remove the debloat feature from Windows Util? What do you mean? Let's get into some... God, how long have I been going? I've been sitting here yapping for 42 minutes. I'm sorry. Let's see this debloat utility. All right, let's go Windows Util. This is the current iteration. Let's go compile, and we're just gonna go run. So how I would do it, we'll just go ahead and do a default one. This is the new interface. This is actually designed by Drift User and Martin, or Muritek, I think is his GitHub username. And it breaks out each one into its own categories. But if you want like a more compact view, you could just kind of sit here and go, you know what, I want this one, this one, this one, this one. And then just hit install. Or we can just clear this. Let's see, clear selection. You can also say get installed. So it'll sit there, go through it all, and then just show you the highlights of what's currently installed. I thought they did a great job on all of this. I was about to do a bunch of tweaks and I saw this outstanding PR and I was like, I'm merging it. It's going to be sitting on the dev branch for probably about 2 weeks to a month. So a little bit longer in the pipeline, just because it's such a drastic change and a departure for how we've installed packages in the past. Just to kind of work through some of it, maybe some optimizations. So this is currently what's on the system. So I think all that's pretty good. I'm just seeing if there's anything in here that I don't want. Honestly, all this is pretty darn good. I use almost all of it. I did use NV clean install for that NVIDIA issue we saw earlier. Let me uninstall something here. Let's uninstall MS Edge redirect. Okay. So if you actually uncheck or clear selection, yeah, that gets it all. Neat. All right, cool. Anyways, getting back to your point about debloating. So what I usually do is just like a standard, something like this, and don't like how this is organized. But yeah, normally I would do something like this, debloat edge, disable recall, and probably not too much else, actually. The rest of it's pretty good. And I probably should put set hibernation. Nah, I guess I can leave that there. And changing Windows terminal from 5 to 7. I like that tweak, but some people are just really not going to care about any of that. So I probably should put this one down here. Set hibernation. I feel like that should be at the very last option, unchecked. But the rest of this should be all right there. So anyways, we'll just hit run. And watch that kind of go in the background real fast. We'll do a reboot just to see what it does from a tweaks perspective. And then also I kind of want to do Win one shot run and then fix some of the errors I'm running into from the tweaks. You might see some of the errors. Some of them will be suppressed when using the utility itself, though. Do people still use NeoFetch? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you got to have classic right menu. Is that not in there? Oh, is that under advanced? Oh, I got to put that. We're going to put set classic right click menu to the default tweaks. I agree. That's an essential tweak. That's a good one. Will you go back to NixOS at some point, or are you done with it? Yeah, you know, I don't know if I'll ever daily drive NixOS just because I changed my system so much, but I still love NixOS. I think it's a great option for someone that wants a really stable system that knows what packages they're going to use and they're not really going to change it. I think that's a fantastic thing. Oh, yeah. Fast fetch is what everyone uses now. I think Neo Fetch on Windows I think it's maintained by someone different anyways. I'm not sure if they're still doing it. Because the old Neo Fetch was, on Linux, definitely, like, they stopped supporting it, but also is run through, I think, bash scripts for the most part. So it's really slow, where the fast fetch is built in C, or it might be C++. Can't remember, but I know it's C, and it's way faster than NeoFetch. So yeah, fast fetch is always better. But in Windows, I'm not 100% sure if that still is the same. I haven't done enough research, really. Because a lot of times I don't really even use NeoFetch or a fast fetch in PowerShell. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll just hit run, and then I'll just do WinVer. And then from WinVer, I'll look at this and go, oh, okay, I'm on 24H2, Windows 11, and this is currently licensed, so it's activated. So I usually do WinVer for most of that type of stuff, where NeoFetch and stuff is more for flair. Just to kind of be like, oh, cool. Which I don't even know. Does it even show anything? Let's run it. What does it show in Windows? Yeah, DXDiag is another good one. Let's go NeoFetch. Yeah, so it shows uptime, build. Yeah. The norms. Damn, 13 gigs of usage? Doggies. Using a lot. Looks like Mim and Disk could use some. Well, it's a graphic representation, just kind of a poor one. What's fast fetch? Let's go. Winget search fast fetch. Let's do some fast fetch and see what the difference is between neo fetch and fast fetch in Windows. Fast fetch is better. Oh, okay. Yep. So this shows. Yeah. Don't use NeoFetch, just use Fast Fetch in Windows as well. This is a lot better, a lot more informative. I like it. All right, well, good to know. That looks way better. We're still cleaning out some of our temp files, it looks like. Nope, that's done. We're done. Let's give this a reboot. Just to see what we got. I know my post is going to be a little bit on the long side, so a 32 meg fat partition. I think that's from. Shoot, let's take a peek. Okay, got a few discs here. Now most of them are kind of omitted and not shown, so that's good. So we only have 6 discs, 6 physical discs. We have our 2 NVMe drives right here. This is going to be the Windows partition. That 16 meg I cleared out. That's actually just a dummy partition for MBR, which, I mean, come on. If you're not using if you're using anything built in like the last 10 years, you're not going to need that. So I just use an EFI and then C. Honestly, I could expand this, extend this volume and move it around if I wanted. I don't feel like it. It's fine. This one's going to be the Arch Linux install. We're using a 600 meg EFI partition. The 100 gig healthy partition is, I think, my C drive. Or the root, I'm sorry, not C, not Windows. This is Linux. So this is going to be root, and then this is going to be everything else like home. I think this is home, and this is everything else is fit in that 100 gig section. This guy, I don't even think I'm using. I think that's a 3 terabyte rated drive that should probably be dynamic, but it's like hardware RAID. Here's a blank 120 SSD. Here's a 250 SSD that I think is used for a secondary install. I think this is Windows as well. And I think this is actually passed through to a QEMU Windows instance when we're in Linux. And then this is just a Ventoy. And I have another couple drives that are just kind of chilling that I could throw in there too if I need more drives. Not hurting on that one. What happened to Windows Recall? I haven't checked up on it lately. They said that it was a bug. The stub was in there, but the actual services were not installed on the ones. We're gonna have to really wait until the next big feature update, and then we're gonna see if that's true. If they walk it back a little bit and say, yeah, that's just a stub, and they remove the stub files, that'd be cool. But as of today, Windows Recall is still there per se, not necessarily files and running. God bless, I can't remember. I think it was like a DISM. I'm sure it's still in there somewhere. Let's go. Yeah, recall. So the feature's still there. Right now it's obviously disabled. This is a stub service on DISM, and they implemented it in such a way, I think it's supposed to be just a bug, but we'll see. When I do a DISM get feature and I hit recall, this should be like, let's just type something like that. it should say feature unknown, not there, not registered, not part of the system. Why'd they leave the stub files in there? It feels like they might add it, so we'll just keep an eye on it. That's all we can do. I do worry about them adding it totally to Windows, but it can always be stripped out too. Like anything, any problem you run into, you can always fix it. It's just a matter of, okay, how much time is this going to take? So, yeah. I accidentally installed 2 UEFIs. How do I remove it? You can just delete the partition if you want. Like, I can delete these partitions and just rebuild them. It's not the end of the world. Take a backup first, though. Because you might not have a bootable system. Make sure you have a good thing to swap to, like a USB drive that you can reload things with, or work on that partition if you need to. But yeah, that's funny. All right, let's reboot. How do you dual boot on a legacy MBR only system? Can I make and detect Windows and Linux? Ahmed, it's possible, but you have to have, I think it only Windows 10. You can't do it on Windows 11. Windows 11 doesn't support MBR. So Windows 10 only. And you should be able to install Windows under MBR, and then also most Linux these days still accept MBR, but that's kind of dying too. I think Fedora does not, and a few others. Short of it is you should not use MBR ever. You should never install on MBR. If you have a modern day system, there is no reason to ever use legacy or MBR, because the problem with MBR I have, oh wait, we're still in Windows. Let's still launch into Windows. Is it just, if anything happens to that MBR partition or that flag, really, it's not even partitions, it's more of a flag. If anything happens or that sector gets moved or corrupted, you're screwed. So like MBR is just awful. Like there's no scenario I can think of in my mind where I would see an MBR partitioned OS drive and go, sweet. I would immediately go, what the hell? How old is this system? Because it's obviously more than 10 years old. And why any modern system with MBR, I'm like, okay, that person doesn't know shit, because there's no reason you should ever use MBR. UEFI is just so much more stable. You can move that shit around. Like that EFI partition, you can put it at the end of the drive. It doesn't even have to be at the beginning of the drive. You could slap that bad boy anywhere and then just boot from it. So yeah, use UEFI or EFI. It just no. Don't ever do an MBR partition. Ever. I just don't see a point. I'd like to just dump all that MBR knowledge out of my brain and then fill it up with other useful knowledge. That's what I think. But to answer your question a little bit more fully, you can't mix and match an install. Like what happens a lot of times is people will install like a legacy MBR Linux partition and then install like a UEFI Windows installation. You can't dual boot in that regard. You just can't. So don't do that. If you're doing a dual boot, always pick EFI. Every time. For everything. Never, ever, ever use legacy. Can't emphasize that enough. I think we need to fix that NVIDIA error too before I forget. Okay. Let's go here. I think we had an update that happened in the background, and that's what the issue was. Let's... Oh, wow, okay. So I'm on 566, and it's 572 over here on Windows. Let's just do that. We're just going to do the minimum. The recommended legacy control panel. I don't want the audio. Nobody uses physics anymore. Let's just go next. I think like Half-Life 2 uses the physics engine from back in the day. I'm surprised they still even bother with that install. All right, and let's go disable unintended express. That should be good. It's been a while since I've used my Windows system extensively, so let's just get that up to date. Half-Life 3. We use physics. Half-Life 3 is a myth. I was on Twitch chat a couple of days ago, and he said there was an issue with seeing YouTube chat. Oh, yeah. Hey, Drift, Andrew. Yeah, no, it's popping in just fine with YouTube. To my YouTube viewers out there. All two of you. So, yeah. It actually kind of highlights all your guys' stuff in chat, so it's really easy to see. That's cool. Oh, no chat on screen, I think. Does it work? Let's see. Chat. Hey! It does work. I feel like that's off the screen, though. Oh. Oh, wait. I think there's another way of doing this. 1 second. Oh, yeah. I was messing around with this the other day. I just love messing around with stuff on stream. Yeah, let's do that. What do we think of that? Get some chat up on the screen so we have that. Yeah, thanks for letting me know, Nav. Yeah, it's working phenomenal now. Oh, wait. Did I cut too much off there? Oh, it's coming from the top down. Okay, I see it now. Oh, cool. I've seen Chris break Linux enough times. I'll stay on Windows. I mean, you're not wrong, but I've also broken Windows quite a few times. All right, installation complete. Although, how many times have I made Windows unbootable on stream? Well, I don't really think I get stuck very much on Windows. Well, I mean, I've used it for like 25 years professionally, so I shouldn't. I should know everything there is to know about it. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be something that stumps me eventually, but we'll see. Yeah, I think Linux Mint is good for beginners, especially someone that's not wanting to tinker. I think a lot of Linux folks recommend their favorite distro and the one that works best for them, but without the understanding that some people just want to install that one thing and then just have crap work out of the box and then not sit there and tinker with it. Most of those people are not Linux users, but there are a few that want to get away from like the telemetry and the ever-present demanding Windows 11 and soon to be Windows 12. And I get that. And for those users, I think like Linux Mint's good, Bazite's good. Those out of the box distros that really don't require much in the way of configuration. I think those are good for those folks. Mint LMDE, yeah. That one. That's gotten really good too. Yeah, Windows Utility mostly, Sasha. That has been the thing. Here's the new one we're about to make a dev branch out of. I did want to merge and then test it on a fresh install. Which do I have? Oh, I don't even think I have. Am I using VM? Oh, no, I'm using Hyper-V. Really? Did I install Hyper-V on this system? I did. We'll launch into that. All right, so WinUtil right now this is our current commits that we're about to make a new version out of. I did want to test a few more things and merge a couple more PRs. I think one more PR, taking my WinGet and merging that to the main branch. It's still not compatible with Windows 10, but Windows 10 going into life, we're not going to really stress too much about keeping Windows 10 compatibility. I don't believe in keeping anything Microsoft that goes end of life around. Either switch to Linux or get with the times. You don't have any other options. So for those users out there sticking with Windows 10 and saying, I'm just going to keep this going forever, every single software is going to stop working for you after end of life hits. It may not be immediate, but it will happen. So you need to either figure it out once end of life hits. Am I going to Windows 11? Or am I switching to Linux? Or am I really rich and I'm going to go buy a Mac? Those are your three options. Staying on Windows 10 is not a long-term viable solution for anyone. Full stop. Edge uninstall still work. Do we have Edge on here? I don't think it does. Let's see. Let's test it. Edge breaks so much, though. Dude. The Edge uninstall. Edge does not work anymore. Microsoft broke this method. Figures. Just trying to keep up with the uninstall of Edge is just brutal. They really don't want people removing Edge. I think we'll have to probably remove all instances of Edge. It's just too much to keep up with. Let's start fixing that. And I also wanted to clean up tweaks a little bit too. So first order of business, let's go ahead and merge that WinGet pull request. Let's go GitHub. Dude, this whole stream, I've just been yapping my head off. Jeez. I need you to be like, shut up, Titus, do some work. That's what I need right now. All right. Have you tested this script? All right, let's just squash and merge and test it. Let's delete this branch. All right. No going back now. Anything else? These are going to be for the next version. We'll push those off. We'll merge that down. All right, grab that winget changes. Make sure that still runs. New tier list for browsers. All right, here we go. Here's a new tier list. Let's go. Let's do another tier list. Sorry, I'm gonna go sidetrack here. Tier list for browsers. Oh God. Excellent, good, bad, spyware. Let's get rid of some of these. Based, delete. Good, delete. Decent, delete. Okay. Arc. Don't know, never used, stopped being supported. All right. We're going to make a meh tier, a bad tier, and spyware tier, and then I don't know, never used. All right. We're going to get meh tier, bad. Well, we'll just call it spyware. Chromium is actually meh. Ungoogled, no. What the hell's this one? I don't know. Firefox, spyware, bat. We'll put that up there. Florp up there. Never used. IceCat, never used. LibreWolf, never used. Edge, spyware. M, nope. Opera, spyware. Opera, spyware. This is GX, that's regular Opera, whatever. That, what is that? Moon something? I can't remember the name of that one. Never used it. Never used it. Safari is just bad. Tor browser, ungodly slow, kind of bad. Vivaldi, meh. Waterfox, I'm not a big fan. And the Z I never used. I think that's Zen. I think some people like Zen. So it'd probably go, Zen would probably go up here for most. Something like that. Is that good for you for a tier list? I'm good at doing tier lists in about 60 seconds. Yeah, so like if you're gonna choose one, probably one of these guys. I don't recommend any of these. They all kind of suck. You know? Browser tier list, speed run, any percent. Achievement unlocked. Better than any YouTuber out there. Done. Don't have to save you from a 20-minute rambling YouTube video. I don't know, you know, this isn't so bad. They're only reporting some of the things. Now, they all kind of suck. It's just kind of like, what sucks less? You know? It's like, this is a really big pile of poo. This one just pretty stinky still. And this one still smells, but it's not necessarily too bad. It's like, it's at least like on week 2 after sitting on the sun, so it still's crap, but less smelly crap. So that's my thoughts on browsers. There's really just not a great one. I have hopes for Lady Bird eventually, maybe, but we'll see how far they make it. That's like my hey pie in the sky dream of Lady Bird getting to basically where Firefox is. That'd be amazing. I do like the browsers with the furries, so, you know. Thorium still holds a special place in my heart. I still love Thorium. I actually reinstated that best web browser video saying Thorium, because Thorium is up here for me. It really is. Ladybird's an open source project browser. I mean, it sucks now. Don't install it. You're not going to use it. But it's amazing for, it's completely open source, completely free, independently backed. No big company owns it. And I love all those things. It, you know, passes like 60-70% of the web browser tests, which is great. But like, to give you an idea on those tests, I think like Chrome passes like 99% of them. Firefox passes like 96% or something. And like Safari is like 95%. So I mean, they're raising the bar in making it there, and they're making really fast progress with Ladybird. It's just that last 20 or 30% is usually the hardest. I think there's a book about like the last 10%, perfecting it. It's always the hardest thing. Anyways, little sidetrack speed run of a browser list. They all suck. Just use whatever works for you guys. Netscape Navigator would be S tier. That would be a based tier if we still had that. I can't wrap my head around a browser with a single developer. Agreed, Robo. I understand that, and that is a very valid concern. Netscape, the good old days before Microsoft killed them. Oh, one of the many casualties of old Microsoft and the billionaire Bill Gates, ruthless businessman that killed so many great products before, great competitive products, all in the name of the American oligarchy. But that's neither here or there. We are here to build Windows utility. All right. Let's go. Yeah, I mean, Microsoft, they killed Netscape. They murdered WordPerfect. So many other ones too. Hell, even like I think it was George R.R. Martin still uses WordStar, or what did he use to make the Game of Thrones series? It was like from the 80s. I think it was WordStar. Was it? I don't know. I'm not gonna look it up. Keep going. Come on, Chris. Too much sidetracking. Let's go here. What are we doing? I think we need to change the config tweaks. Let's clear this out. I'm actually gonna grab. Let's go downloads. Do we have Win One Shot on here? Oh, we do. No, we don't. One second. I'm gonna just grab this real fast. As soon as I figure out where I put it. And then I'll bring you guys back in. The secretive nature of Windows One Shot. It's under lock and key. It says I already downloaded it twice. Really? Alright, well. Let's see. I did. I have now downloaded it like 3 times. Okay, cool. Let's move that into exclude. And this is how we're going to use it to improve Windows utility. Or I just crashed my system. What happened here? Stupid Defender. Oh, this was an old version of One Shot. That's not right. That was a very old version of One Shot. Okay. That was like my 0.1 alpha. Alright. Let's try that again. Because I need a readout of... the errors for the tweaks. The cool thing about this is it's going to tell me what I did that necessarily I can change. Oh, there's still some... I need to rebuild this. Anywho, let's go and fix... Object cannot be converted. Bits is fine. Do SVC needs to be removed. And SGRM broker. DS service shouldn't be touched either. None of these should be touched. I'm going to remove these guys. And we're also going to get rid of SGRM. Broker. I think I had them in here just to throw those in, but I don't feel like we need any of that. Let's get rid of this. And text input service. Yeah. Removing that. That's actually baked into the services. For the hibernation tweak. Ooh, you know, for the hibernation tweak, we probably should use that as a checkbox, probably. That should be a toggle, I imagine. That makes more sense to me. Yeah. When util, like the micro win, will remove like TPM and secure boot and all that. Like this is I installed this Windows 11 without secure boot. Maxthron browser, I have not. I never used that one, Mr. Handy. Bill Gates and Steve Jobs have made society tech illiterate. I mean, there's some truth to that, but I mean, at the end of the day, we kind of did it to ourselves by just kind of turning over the keys and just saying, hey, yeah, I just want one button to make everything work, and I don't want to know how the sausage is made, so to speak. So I think it's your responsibility to educate yourself. I don't think we can blame them for that. They just saw an opportunity to take advantage of an opening in the market. So I think in that regard, you know, I think the current climate, I think it's important to educate yourself as best as possible and know how everything's made, know how everything's worked. Not necessarily you have to do it that way, but at least know how to do end to end, how to make that work without relying on some big entity to come along and kind of hold your hand. So I think that's important. Just my 2 cents. Is there anything else in here? I gotta fix that, but that's fine. I mean, that's just de-bloating some of the app installer stuff. Okay. That's more of a one-shot issue. I just wanted to clear up those few things from WinUtil. And I'm going to just delete this guy. We're going to go get status. So we have modified bug report and feature request. Really? What changes we make here? Okay. Just getting rid of some blank spaces, which is fine. Tweaks. That looks good. Removing some more white space. All very good. We'll fix a few tweak errors here. We're just going to commit this directly to main. And that should clean up some of the red errors we were running into for services. Yeah, I think a lot of people are comfortable with Windows too. That's the thing. Like at the end of the day, when let's say I just need to get a ton of work done, I know with 100% certainty, no matter whatever Windows I'm end up on, I'm going to be able to do that, and that's a good feeling. So I get why people use Windows. So no matter the software, no matter what I'm using, I know this is going to work. That's just how much configuration, how much other shenanigans am I going to run into getting it working is probably the biggest thing. All right, so we're clear here. That's all committed to main. Let's run this again. We shouldn't run into any more errors. This will... One shot's based on the backing of WinUtil. So that's what I use one shot for a lot. I just got to fix that error with this. But the rest of it, there's one error up here. Maybe we could look at the log file. Let's always use cursor. Do we have... Is there an error with any of that? So we're changing all these registry keys. But there's one in here that I think is causing an issue. What is it? Oh, this is 220. Well, it still should be here at 225, though. Changed. I don't see any abnormalities there. Then we're just checking all the services. Program data updater is not there, which is fine. Ah, checking action history telemetry. Could not be opened or properly converted. So there's probably something that was like a string, but it required like an integer or something like that. That's somewhere in that Sweeks file, I think, probably giving me an issue. Yeah. Registry value kind. So that would be like a string or using a D word instead of a string. Something like that. I just don't know what that was where it's pulling it. But we've cleared out some of the errors at least. Oh, I have not. Alan Becker, Animation versus Coding. This is a good video, Enron. I think that's pretty good. I think this is pretty much exactly where I want it to be. Let's go ahead and make a dev build. Let's go to actions. Yeah, we're going to just do a pre-release. It's been a little bit since we've done a pre-release on WinUtil. Yeah, we got to add Zen browser for sure. I know a lot of people are praising it. Running, all right. Run space is good. Let's check our releases. Should have a pre-release 303. It's good luck. So we've got this refactor. Yep. Just a couple little bug fixes here and there. Let's run it. So we're going to go IRM. We're going to go WinDev. We'll do an about. Well, I mean, we're going to know right away because the UE revamp is going to be pretty darn immediate. Yeah, that worked. And there we are, 303. Look at that sweetness. All right. So we are good to go there. Let's just go ahead and do another standard tweak. Just make sure we've got that. We're going to just do some basic checks before we switch over to a stock system and run the tweaks over there. Oh, is NixOS... Well, NixOS is way better because you can always go back to any. I think it calls it generations, and what the generations are is essentially snapshots in time. To where, like, let's say your NixOS instance stops working from an update or a new program was installed, whatever it might be, you can actually just revert back to the old generation. And it stores literally hundreds of those things. So you can restore it to any time. So that's the beauty of Nix. It's really cool. But the problem is, if you're constantly changing your system, you're going to be having just a crap ton of generations. Like, I think I ran NixOS for like a month and I had upwards of 1,000 generations, which is nuts because I constantly change my systems and trying different things out. So, well, I could do that, and it was a little more cumbersome than like an Arch install. It was very, very reliable. So if I screwed something up, you just flip back to the old generation, which is good. Technically, I still like the Arch approach. If you're really big into tinkering, I still like Arch Linux the best. And just use time shift or like back in time or something like that to back up your system. Yeah, and you can always, like Dammy says, you can just pull that up and go crazy. Yeah, there's a couple people that do strictly NixOS videos on YouTube. It's like their niche. God bless, what was it? Let's just go to YouTube and pull up some people. One of them I thought was really good though. NixOS configuration. Yeah, it was this guy, Vimjoyer. Vimjoyer's a Chad. So that's really, really who you want. Like, he does all kinds of NixOS stuff. Yeah. Nix. Like, there's no better creator. But hey, there I am. Than Vimjoyer when it comes to NixOS videos. Like, dude. Look at his library. He is an authority on that. And NeoVim too. I love his little avatar too. So anyways, let me link him in chat. Shout out to Nix or Vimjoyer. He is good. Oh crap, I didn't. Is it Vim Enjoyer? Did I just completely rename his Vimjoyer? Okay, no. I was like, did I completely do that? All right, there we go. Yeah, generations do differential. It's like a differential backup, so it only grabs the differences between the two, and I think it does it through atomic swaps. So it's not as much space as you think. So it's not bad. So very good resource for NixOS content. I don't think you can do any better than him. I even watched a couple of his videos, and it's very rare I go on YouTube and I see a tutorial video and go, I like that guy. More often than not, I'm pretty critical of most creators where I'm like, that's not exactly, okay. That's kind of surface level, but I get it. But that guy, no, he takes some deep dives. What a Chad. So, for those NixOS people out there, this is looking good. We're still clearing out our files. Tweaks are finished. I think this is still cleaning up that. Great. So let's close this, but one more thing. Let's install some stuff. Let's install. What are we gonna install? Something not horrible. What about Audacity? See, this is why we test. This is why we test. Okay. Winget is outdated. Should not have done that. All right. Can we fix it? Shouldn't have deleted that branch. Damn, I could have reverted it. Now I'm going to have to do a get reset hard. No. No, why, Chris? That's so stupid of me. All right, well. I think I can just, I would love to do it from here, but I don't think I can. Dang. Could set a breakpoint in the line and see what's failing, what's going on. Yeah, what happened when we were coding wonders is I completely merged that winget. I thought it was further along. I was like, we'll just test it on the main. So stupid of me. I should have checked out it, done the thing. It could be something with the changes with the install. I would definitely dump my winget though beforehand. It's not like the old version was all that bad. Well, I should have double checked and updated the branch. That's what I should have done. So that was my bad. Have a good one, Raz. Thanks for dropping in, man. So having said that, what else we got? Where am I going to go from here? Winget is outdated. Continuing with install. This module could not be found due to the following error. Could not be part of path. So that's probably down here, but why is these first top two shouldn't be failing? So attempting to install or update winget comes through here. Goes through, accepts Microsoft App Installer. Let's just emulate this in another terminal real fast. I want to see what error this is giving me specifically. Found an already package already installed. Trying to update the installed packages. No available update is found. So the actual error that we're encountering is the check The version check is wrong. The Winget version check. So that should be what's your smartwatch of choice? That's a chunky boy. A Garmin. Garmin Runkeeper 965 is my favorite. It doesn't really do much other than fitness crap. So most people will hate that watch. So don't take this as an endorsement saying, hey, everyone should run out and get one. But all I want it to do is track my fitness. I never want it dinging me or going, hey, you have a missed email or some crap like that. I don't like smartwatches for any of that business. I just wanted it for more fitness stuff. So that's why I went with the Garmin. Like, oh God, what was the most annoying watch ever made? Apple's smartwatch. When I had an iPhone with a smartwatch during, I think I did a video on this, and I was just like, this is so annoying. I'm getting so many notifications, and I hate notifications. So status equals no applicable updates from Winget. Okay, this is just the dude. It's been so long. This is not where Winget version is. Reorienting myself here. So update program Winget. Okay, that's just updating all programs. That's the wrong function. Sometimes I love that it's so modular. Sometimes I hate that it's so modular. Just gotta find the correct version. Version not found. Okay. This function will download the latest version and install it. It'll do nothing if version's there. So how's it testing this? Test WinUtil package manager. Okay. Test WinUtil package manager right here. This is not returning the proper. We need to run the command, get the exact version. So check if it's too late. Win current version. Response. Let's do this IRM here. Okay. So this is 1.10.32. This one is 340. So one thing I want to check here is, where's that versioning? Oh, I think it's right in here. Can't remember the package. Microsoft.app installer. I wish they would have just called it Winget in the Microsoft store, but no, they like to make things difficult. Thanks, Microsoft. So app installer version should be the one we check, because that's where we're getting the installer from, not the one directly from GitHub. So Should be an easy fix. All right, take it easy, Andrew. Thanks for stopping in, man. Oh, Wingit. Yeah, I wish now. Probably work better if it was Wingit, not Git. Rest method. Use the version from Wingit. Search. All right, what's that look like? Should be a relatively easy fix. So instead, Wingit search. Why are you changing the variable? Ah, okay, well, whatever. Doesn't have to be response for the variable name, so we're just changing that. We're then parsing the split here, grabbing the version number, which that's not going to work. It's close, but not quite. Let's take that. We need to adjust the parsing of the Wingit search since the version is in a different column. Here's the corrected code. All right, what's that look like now? Is that the third column? 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's fine. But the version does not start with a V, which I think the trim method of the V, let's see, is it grabbing the response? Does not look like it is grabbing the response, so that does, it's close. Explain. Well, you're absolutely right. Looking at the Wingit search output, the version doesn't have the V prefix, so we don't need to trim it. Unnecessary. Okay. Apply that. That looks better. Method error stop. Well, let's give this a whirl here. Feel like that might be that might work. So let's go Z WinUtil. Let's pull down anything there. And then we're just going to go compile dash run. Okay, so now with this, we'll go to multimedia tools. We're just going to install Audacity. Version string position was too short or too long. Splits a Unix command. I should have caught that. Select string. That regex looks funky, though. I don't love it. Yeah, I don't know. Let's recompile. See what we get. I feel like this is a little bit of an over-engineered solution for what we're trying to accomplish. See, this is wrong. I think it just doesn't look right to me. Let's go Sonnet 3.7. We're going to go. This is PowerShell. You have a license for regex? Is that really a thing? That'd be funny. All right, so app installer line. It's fine. You get the Win search, where object, Microsoft.app.installer. Then we're doing a regex match. Substituting. Man, that match looks wonky, though. So then it matches that. I don't think that works, though. Looking at it, I think that would just grab the first subset of the match. No, it'd be the whole version number with the parentheses. That would be the one. Yeah, that technically could work. Let's try. Regex licensing.org. Okay. VS Code based editor. Vim Diesel. It's fair, man. I deserve the hate on that one. Hey. So I gotta look up Phoenix on that. What are you talking about? Regex licensing. I'm curious. I am dying to know what this site is. Can we open that link? Apparently I broke something. So he's just trolling folks with this? It's kind of funny. Why the regex hate, though? I mean, I love it. I think it's funny. He's like, just don't use regex. I know, but I'm not like elite programmer like Prime and those guys. I'm just a plebe. Hacking away. I do use NeoVim quite often. Here's actually my code statistics. Here, let's just check it out. I'm kind of curious. I think it's probably a little bit wacky right now. What is? Let's go this last month. No. Let's go custom. Let's go a full year maybe. Let's just go 2024. Apply. Oh, can it go that far? I don't know. Anyways. So this is Windows and Linux for this last month. Let's go further. So that seems wrong to me. So the start date should be this. Okay. So we'll go like that. We'll hit apply. Try a smaller range. Okay, fine. Let's just go 8. Here we go. We're in business. I like to track my coding habits too, just to see exactly what I've been doing, using the most time in. So this is going to be from 08, which would roughly be, what is that, August, July of last year to today. Man, it's a pretty big parse. I feel like I'm crashing the old whack-a-time servers here. Hey! Oh man, look at me. I'm officially a cursor programmer. Yikes. Alright, here we go. We got NeoVim with 27 hours and 50 minutes. Cursor with 70 hours. Even sprinkled in a couple VS Code there. Windows taking up 72 hours of programming time, and Linux with 40 hours of programming time. Overall, my daily average is 56 minutes of programming. I did have like a New Year's resolution to get this over an hour. So working on that. Coding mostly from the main PC. That's it, my inside PC. We got the studio out here in the studios, about 23 hours. And then my laptop, the K-Focus, was 22 hours. So we're using that. That's my 3. And then that's, I don't know what this Arch Linux and all these other probably distro hops like Maxim. Mostly Markdown, Lua, PowerShell, Python. Really? 7 hours of Python? Seems excessive. TOML, YAML, HTML, JSON, conf. Those are all just like configuration files. So those really don't count. Dang. Okay. Most used projects with the most time. It's funny. WinUtils up here in the top 3. The top one was Age of Titus, which I don't even use anymore. I had a fun time with that though. That's funny. This is Big Green Spike. Oh, that was my website. What's this Blue Spike? Oh, that was Age of Titus. Okay. Well, fun. So over the past, what, 6 months or so, about 120 hours roughly. It's kind of cool. Cool little breakdown. I'm a Markdown engineer that uses Cursor. The future is now. Watch out. I'm coming for all you programming jobs out there. You may be fluent in C#, Rust, Go, but I got my Cursor AI and Markdown files that I'm just so good at. Watch out. I'm going to take your job. It's cute. It's cute. There's a lot of people that believe that, though. I'm like, no. You still need your senior engineers. They ain't going anywhere, anytime. Don't drink the Kool-Aid, guys. That's the difference between me and a professional senior engineer is the difference between a little league baseball player and someone in the MLB. That's the gap. That's the skill gap. It's big. It's a chasm. It is massive. And I can't overemphasize the state. There's no amount of AI help that can get me from here all the way to here. you know, we're never going to close that gap to even, we're not even going to be like here. It's still going to be like way, there's just so much that happens that just most people can't. And I understand like basic like object oriented programming. Yeah, I have some really rudimentary surface level knowledge of most of the programming languages, but it's so big of a difference from someone that's used those programming languages from like 10 years. There's no amount of AI that can even get close to, I mean, maybe the gap could be shortened a little bit by AI, but it's still going to be a massive gap. Like there's just nothing. There's just nothing there. I mean, that's true. How dare you insult Little League credentials? Tenacious, you're not wrong there. I think that did insult Little Leaguers. Yeah. I just don't know what's below that, so I'm not much of a sports guy. If there's something below that, we need to use that. Oh man, I love it. Love it. All right. This does look like this worked. Now we got to test it. So let's see. What was the big major changes here? Let's go to our changes. So we're just removing the check from GitHub, switching it out to our regex version of this using a winget search. And we're going to commit this. But before I do that, there might be one more change now that I'm thinking logically through this. The one thing that I'm thinking on this is the winget doesn't need to match exactly. The winget doesn't need to match exactly. It just needs to be below. It needs to be the exact match or a higher number. Because if someone installs, yeah, let's see. Current version check is outdated compared to the latest version. Let me adjust the code. So the key point here is the less than. Here, let me bring this up. Can we zoom in? I can't make that any bigger, huh? Come on. Okay, well, whatever. All right, current version is less than, and then the latest version is greater than, outdated equals true. If current version equals latest version, outdated false. If current version is greater than latest version, outdated equals false. The whole point of putting the greater than latest version in would be to ensure that if you do like a preview build or install directly from GitHub, it wouldn't just fail indefinitely. You're just adding some comments. What? Did Claude 3.7 get stupider? What's happening here? Yeah. What? All right. That doesn't make sense. Yeah, you're just adding comments. The match is not matching anything. You're right. I was just adding comments without addressing your concern. The issue is we need to ensure the matching of the version correctly. All right. What do we got? Now, the app installer line, where match. Okay, that's fine. Just the first one. Select object, first one. This is so stupid. I'm going to have to write this. I think AI got stupider all of a sudden. Okay. Well, whatever. Let's just... Oh. No. I'm trying to think, can I pipe this in a single command? I think I'm going to have to do... I think I can just do like an export or set value. I don't think I can quite just do a value of winget check equal. I don't think that works. Maybe. I don't think it's persistent. Okay. Yeah, that did work. Cool. This should be winget check. Yeah, okay, so it does match that line. So then it'll go through, and then we do the regex value. So if app installer line match, I'm not sure why I guess we just matched that. Just trying to think through this logically and then just parsing those match. Oh, okay, so I think we can just grab the third variable every time, though. I don't think that would ever change, and we really don't need to match this. Should I switch to Linux even though I don't have a use case as of now? I'm using Windows 11. If Windows 11 is working for you, I'd say stick with Windows 11. You know, it just depends on where you're at. I think unless you want to just learn a new skill, I mean, it couldn't hurt to just dual boot it and then learn it on your off time. I think that's the way to go. Or even just do WSL in Windows 11 and kind of get the gist of it. Are you serious about this regex license? Phoenix is just trolling me. Although Phoenix did get me to try, what was it? Nix. I think you were the one that actually originally turned me on to Nix. Oh, I just don't like that match per se. I mean, that's fine, but winget parse matches. Winget current version is less than winget latest version. Ah, okay. That's what changed, was the addition of this. So the less than, okay, that should be fine. So if this turns out there, so let's take this. I think we could just do a, I'm just not thinking clearly here. I think you just do select object 3. So let's say, let's go winget ver off ver equals. Let's get that. And then I think we could do just where object, and we're gonna just go actually let's go winget off ver pipe where object. Oh, actually, you know, I think we can just do a select object. We're overcomplicating this. And I think we can just go like first 3. Oh, no. What's the command for select volume? Split? Oh. Yeah, so the actual space would be, you can't split by space though, because that won't be there. I thought there was a select column. I just can't remember the syntax off my top of my head. I don't use PowerShell as much as I used to. I know there's a syntax for that though. Easiest way to select third column in output using PowerShell. I remember there's a table command as well. And split won't work. I mean, it would work, but I don't want to do split. By one or more white space characters, which would not work because there's a space between app and installer. So that would give us some errors and not properly do it. Oh yeah, Glaze WM. Oh man, that was fun. That was a fun project. It's always the mundane things like this that cause issues. I see the issue in my brain and I just can't quite pick it out. I don't think it really matters. I have pretty much what I want. I do want to verify one thing though. And so we got latest version, but also I want current version. Okay. So I want to make sure it's hitting this match. And also going through, the big thing I want to avoid is it going outdated equals false, just skipping this whole match line. I'm just not certain that's executing. So let's, I just want to verify that. Let's just do a compile run. So let's say we're here, we have our multimedia tool. We want to go install Audacity. One dot 2.5.320, huh? How about that? Yeah, I thought that was wrong. Where's he getting that output from? Wait. 125.320. 1.25.320. But when you go winget dash version, is this a bug? Stupid Microsoft. No wonder. If you do like something like this, it's going to say no package and fail. But when you look at the actual search of winget search, Microsoft App Installer, the actual version is 1.25.320.0. But when you go winget dash version, it's 1.10.320. Like, what? I don't understand. So the overall app installer package is 1.25.320, but our winget version is 1.10.320. But it sees this and this as the same package when I go to do like a winget install of the same one. I don't understand why. Is the V missing? Did they goof the version naming? Like, I don't know. But obviously it sees it and says no upgrade found, but the app version over here is incorrectly displayed as the current. This is currently up to date. That's why I'm like sitting here going, oh God, why do they have to like just not, that doesn't make any sense. Well, no wonder we always have problems. We got to account for every little bug that Microsoft puts in. Let me think about this for a second. How do we get the proper version to match up? If we do it off the sub version, which is like 320, well, what happens when the sub version doesn't match the current version and it ends up being more or less? Then you're trying to overwrite like winget on another system. Can you compare the installed version of the app installer on winget? This is what we're doing right here. It just doesn't match. Kind of strange. I just update to 340 from the MS store. So let's update. Let's see if there's an update for this. Let's go apps. Try to do it directly from this stupid store. Winget is going to be the death of me. Yeah. So app installer. I don't even think I ever installed it from the store though. Let's just go app installer. Okay. Of course. Okay, here's the app installer, right? So the app cannot update when it's open. Okay. Just close out of everything, right? Okay, nothing there. Let's hit retry. Maybe it's running in the background. We'll go to details if it dies on us again. We'll permanently kill the process. But maybe PowerShell being open caused it to fail. Shows this way in the store. All right, one second. I'll click on it here a second. I want to see if this goes. Does look like it's doing something. Dude, I do not want to make a pop-up prompt that's like, go to the Microsoft Store and install App Installer using this link. We could actually do it like a... I think there's like a... I want to say XDG open, but I'm thinking Linux. There's like an app install open that would open this up through the Microsoft Store, but still. That looks like it worked. Okay, so then it says it's installed. So when we look over here, go apps. We look for app installer right here. Doesn't show the version, it looks like. But let's close this out. Launch terminal. IDE cursor right now. It does look like it installed. Let's see if it changed Winget's version. It did change Winget's version. But the Winget that's in Winget is not correct. So you have to install it via that, but the versions won't match up either. And coding. Oh, that's right. The Microsoft Edge redirect. Let's go default apps. 1 second. Uno momento. Change our stupid default apps, but somehow I screwed that up. All right. Now. No? No. All right. Well, we'll just copy the link. So it does show the version on the Microsoft Store. And it is a mismatch between their... So I'm not crazy. The Winget version on the CLI is 1.10, and the version in the app, it's... How do we fix this? It's the same damn... It's the same program, Phoenix. It's the same effing program. app installer is Winget and Winget is app installer. That's why I'm like, there should not be a version mismatch. If you uninstall app installer, Winget is no longer on your system. And if you uninstall Winget, app installer is no longer on your system. It makes no sense. I know they screwed up the naming, but it's Microsoft. They always screw up the naming. If you need any context for that, just look up PowerShell Core and Windows PowerShell. Two totally separate things, even though they do the same thing. Shit. Winget -- info. Okay, let's try that. Okay. I can work with that. So we could do a winget -- info to pull the proper version. We could also grab the HTML. I honestly don't want to install this, but there's going to be some people that are wanting it installed via CLI where I honestly want to see. I don't want to push everybody through the Microsoft Store if we're going to do it this way. It's the only thing that would like always make sense because Microsoft likes to break everything because they change their install methods so often. Yeah, get AppX name. I agree, Timo. That would probably be the best way to do it. So you just do like a get AppX package and Microsoft app, desktop app installer, desktop app installer, something like that. And then you'd grab the version directly from here and then line it up with what you see from the store. What a mess. Yeah, we want to get, I think we just reference the AppX and then open store for the install. So that makes the most sense to me. Using Winget itself to update Winget was a good idea in theory, but it worked ever so briefly before breaking. And now that's just no longer a valid point. So instead of doing this for the search, what we can do is grab what are we looking for here? Version. We just do version. Select that first line on the match. And then for this output, what we're going to grab, instead of doing a Winget search, we're just going to do desktop installer. Something like this. And now it should parse correctly. It's kind of a convoluted way of doing it, but let's see. Still don't like our install commands though. It's gonna break using Winget install command, so we gotta kind of throw that out the window. So let's go multimedia. current version is grabbing the wrong way. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's fine. We can just kill that. All right. And the other one, during the compile. It was already being used. That's funny. Anyways. So the current version is being set up here by winget current version trim. And it's parsing winget version. That's not how we should do it. Winget current version should be... I think we can just trim the... Okay, if winget exists, which let me just make sure. Okay, winget version full should be where are you at? This guy. So it's going to run this command, but we need to pipe this and then just grab the direct one. So we got this. Let's pipe it and then go. What do we end up terminating? I think we could just do this all in one line. Now that I'm thinking about it. So we're going to do where match version. Select one. We'll paste that in here. Okay. That did not work. Where match. Nope. Oh, my match isn't quite working. So I only want to grab this one line. I am having a hell of a time with that. Why? We're about to dump most of what we're seeing on the screen, but I think I can simplify this just using... I think we're just going to do matches with Apex, and then we'll do the install directly from the store. That's the only thing that I think would be universal and wouldn't break with subsequential updates. I've just had such problems with winget. Just give me some examples here. Yeah, okay, so we got the match, but... So the match always is a regex. Oh, okay. We don't need to match white space. Should be just the match of that one. Okay. So with this, let's just get rid of this select object at the end. Oops. Still not grabbing that, but ooh. Yeah. The Liz version, honestly, between 320 and 340, we shouldn't see much of an issue. We're working with array of objects with get apex package. You can combine where object and select object in the expand property. Oh, okay. So we probably go like a select object. I don't think the dot version would work here, Redox. Let's do the old school way, right? Select object. Okay, so then we should be able to expand property dash version, I think is what we need. So what we can do, actually, I think we can just go dash property and then version. So select object dash property. And then this one should be version. Yeah. Yeah, buddy. There we go. So now we're not pulling that full command. And then we can just, I want to say grep that line. Then, oh, geez, how do you... It's been too long. I think we can just go select. I think we can just go last one. No. Well. Oh, really? You can just do get object dot version? No, that wouldn't work, would it? Okay, we can. So many different ways to skin that cat. All right. I'm game for trying it, man. I think I love that idea. Let's get app, and we're gonna just go name. That's all. There's no spaces, so I don't think we necessarily need the single quote. And then version. Oh, hell, let's try the single quote then. Can't do echo. I've been in Linux too long. I'm broken. Oh. Thank you. This is why I like to live stream this. Spelling, not my strong suit. Okay. That is money right there. All right, cool. Well, there's a lot of different ways you can skin that, which is great. Easiest way is just that. All right. We're going to get rid of all these extra checks. We're about to simplify this. Oh my God, what in the world? This is so stupid. All right. Winget. Check if Winget is installed. This should be here. Okay, great. And if Winget exists, that's great. Comes into here. Winget version full is already set. So we don't need to. Actually, I'm going to leave this because there is sometimes a dash preview on the version for Winget. Is there a V on that? I need to check. I forgot. There is no V there. So there's no trim that needs to be had. Now, where is it getting this variable? Winget version is first put. Okay. We'll leave it just in case they add the V back because it's Microsoft after all. They might add the V back. And we have trimming the preview and the V if it exists. So then we have Winget current version set properly. All grabbing from that one variable from Tim. Appreciate you. Way easier solution. So now our current version should match. Now grabbing the version from the Microsoft Store would be the next one. Now, how do we want to grab that? So we can't use winget search to grab the version, obviously, for a variety of different reasons. We could just add back the old version, which if we look at, I don't think I've uploaded any of these changes, so actually just showing my GitHub changelog. Yeah. So technically, this right here, that's funny. We ended up going right back to where we came from. Now, oh, did I erase a check there? I think I did. Extract the version, blah, blah, blah. I know we're right in the middle of an if statement. 1 second. I want to leave this verbose output right here. So if, what do we want it to do? Equals true. That's if it's less than the current version is less than the latest version, then it is outdated. Man, I don't know what's wrong with my brain today. This should be a greater than. Because the current version is grabbing it from the API. Oh, no. I'm sorry. Nope. If this is less than the latest version, which is from the API from GitHub. So we should be good. Perfect. So then if it's outdated, it does this. And how do... Why is this even there, really? We'll just get rid of it. And this versioning right here doesn't make sense. Installed version. Should have done better with my variables. Ended up making this more taxing on my brain by not using proper variables. So the current version is the installed version. So this would be winget current version. And then latest version, we're going to call this online version. We're going to make this as descriptive as possible, so I don't ever misconstrue these. Those variables are just so close to each other. I hate it. Anyways, so basically it's just going to read out, hey, this is the installed version right here that we use the Git AppX package for. And then the current, or the latest version, which is grabbed right here, is pulled from the github.com winget-cli one there. So if the one from GitHub is less than the current version, why am I making this so complicated? If the current version, which is the installed version, is less than the online version, then it will be outdated. Okay. Perfect. Wow. That is fine. This is going to work now, but now redoing the install. So stupid. How can I become as good as you creating scripts like this? I am not that good. It's all about just getting the reps in, man. I have not done it enough lately, and as we see through this stream, I have not done a great job. Perfect. Awesome. Perfection. All right, cool. So we're very specific. Online GitHub version is 1.10.340, and the installed version is 1.25.340 using AppX. Funny thing is, this method... oh, man. This is always going to return WinGit not up to date because now the GitHub version uses the actual GitHub. Oh, my God. Did I just go completely in a... Yeah, I did. I did. That's hysterical. Yeah. Yeah, this is... we literally went in this big loop. And now we're at the back, and I'm just like, I guess I'll just revert everything. It was actually a good check to begin with. I got confused and ended up going on this 1 or 2 hour tangent. I'm sorry for everyone that watched that. Or maybe you were just pointing there and laughing at me. Either way, I'm glad I could be your entertainment for the day. But essentially, there's an AppX version that always returns 1.25, and then there's a GitHub version that returns 1.10. Yeah. So technically, this would be the one to go for, and it was out of date. Huh. Either way. So this whole point of all of this, we're just going to discard all these changes. It was fun. What a fun exercise in futility. Anyways, we're discarding that. And the whole fix WinGit for good, this deal right here, we're doing install and test. And if we look at the changes made here, I think we'll revert all this. Although this is also not working too because it's trying to install WinGit through this method, which would fail. There is the Microsoft Store method. Git process, desktop information, stop. How is it sending this out? And if you type this in and send it, it should just pop up the store with desktop installer. Now it just grabs the MSXI bundle. Okay, good enough. This is why you don't take a month off, folks. Not good. All right, good stuff. Good stuff, Say. Oh. So I killed this whole file, and then for the install, we're attempting to install WinGit with WinGit, which we know is not a good idea because the WinGit package is not up to date. Using this method doesn't seem to work. And then installing through NuGet also fails. So we have 3 failure installs here. This is going to sound really stupid. You guys are going to laugh at me. But what if we remove all these backup sources? Because everything on Windows 11 has WinGit. What if we just match it to the WinGit search, to the WinGit version that's installed? And if the WinGit version installed is more, fine. If it matches it, fine. If it's less than, then it's out of date to Winget. I really like the Winget method because I don't think that'll change, and it would work just fine. The problem coding is I've tried a bunch of different methods for getting Winget to install reliably, but doing like I think it's a provision package with a license. And automating the downloading of like the MSIX bundles and all the dependencies is just a freaking nightmare. A good case in point is not just for me, but a lot of the people that run the Winget chocolatey install, which we've done that in the past, would also run into problems. So the best way to do it, I think, would just be to rip out all of it and then just match it to Winget. Winget search, boom. The downside to doing it this method would be Windows 10 users are left in the dark. So Windows 10 goes end of life in October 14th of 2025, so not that far away. I'm tempted to just leave a link to install Winget for older versions, but I think Winget's installed on Windows 10's latest versions as well. I could be wrong on that. Checking if a module is imported is quite easy. Yeah. But yeah, I think on this side of things, I'm looking what versions is Winget installed on any versions of Windows 10. It does come pre-installed on newer versions of Windows 10. So it's really old versions of Windows 10, which I am fine leaving those guys in the dust. Like the old versions of Windows 10. So I think 23H2 and 24H2 of Windows 10 does come with it installed. Okay. So I think that's not a big deal. Because nobody's installing Windows 10 versions like 1809 and probably, I think 2004, I think it was, that version. Or 20H2, I think it was. Actually, not 2004. I think 20H2 is the last version that didn't include Winget by default. It might have been 21H2, though. But either way, I think 22H2 and above all come with Winget pre-installed. So I don't think this is actually an issue. I think the easiest solution here is so we have the Winget version. Instead of doing it this way, we grab the version and then let's just do that really fast. Let's get a one-liner for that. Yeah, the problem with scripts, man, especially third-party scripts, one, there's the potential for security and abuse, but the third thing, really the thing is, I've created a lot of these scripts that work at the time that they're created, but keeping up with Winget and all the changes, they could add changes to the licensing. They could change how it's installed. Winget has changed so many times on the installation. I don't trust any Winget install script. For the longest time, we just did chocolatey. So chocolatey installed by default, and then we did Cocoa install Winget, and then that broke. And then we were doing Winget install Winget, which is pretty much what we're going to go to, because it's made by Microsoft, maintained by Microsoft, and it shouldn't change. Even though we do have some version mismatching, we're about to fix all that. So when we echo Winget check, okay, Winget check's not there anymore. So Winget check, instead of matching this way, what we're gonna do, I thought we had like a Winget. Yeah, well, either way. Let's go winget check equals winget search. And we're just going to go direct exact. And what was it? Microsoft dot. What was the winget check? I'm running out of time. Silly, silly, silly. Yeah, I never installed winget. Mine came with Windows 10 updates. Ah, thanks, Galaga. Yeah, I think anybody that has recently updated Windows has winget. So I don't think we need to do all these weird checks and downloading the MSI tools and having like NuGet trying to check to install. I think we just use winget. So we're only going to use winget to check the version, and we're only going to use winget to grab the current version and then just trim whatever we need from it. So the winget search exact, what was the exact one we needed? Son of a biscuit eater, man. Come on now. Where are you? I think I purged all those changes. That funny fact. All right. App installer. Let's just make sure we get that exact. I think it was app installer like that. Yes. So what we'll do is, and I think we can just pipe and just go where object last one. Oh, what was, what do I need for where object is? I think we can just do like, right? I feel like we could just do like an information variable or something like that, and then just filter that one thing. Value. If we could go version, that would be great. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna work. But yeah, there is a way to pipe this in, and I just cannot think of it. Me misspelling things again. Okay. I got an idea here. Repair. Tim, is that a valid command? I've never seen that. Get out. That's a command? Oh. Fat fingering everything today. That is face. Huh. Wow. Will that command actually update winget as well? Oh, that's awesome. Okay. So I think really what I'll do here is a search. I'll pipe the winget search exact Microsoft app.app installer. If out of date, run repair winget package manager force latest. And then I don't think we really need to do anything else. Yeah. Oh man. Tim, you just made my whole day. You just made my whole damn day there, man. So this... I'm going to look at more of that repair syntax too, and that's it. For today, I got to actually shut it down. I've got to go work out. Especially, I definitely could use it after this coding session because, woof, man, that was going in circles for a bit there. The dev branch, obviously, Win gets broken right now. That was my bad. I shouldn't have merged that old package. And I think we'll use a variation of the repair WinGet package manager, according to Tim. And then we'll just need to check it via WinGet as well. So it's not going to try and update or repair unless it's really old. WinGet search is still only showing 3.20 or 320 instead of the current package, which is 340 from GitHub. So that's one thing we got to fix. But past that, I mean, I'm pretty happy with all this. I think that'll be probably the easiest way to proceed forward with just making sure WinGet's there in a good state. There may even be overthinking it like this. There might be other, like if we go repair WinGet package, one thing that we could do is the version. Let's see what else we have here. And I'm kind of curious to see what all the... I kind of want to walk through some of these examples using the repair WinGet package, because this is the first time I've ever seen this from PowerShell. And if this works pretty well, we might just be able to stick to this instead of actually having WinGet install. So yeah. But all right, I'm going to shut it down for today. Thanks for hanging out, seeing my just absolute disaster of a stream. I'm actually going to probably take down that dev branch because WinGet's not working. So I'm actually going to delete that real fast. So nobody's trying to run that latest version. So let's just go trash. And we're going to delete this release. I'm going to do a re-release. Tonight I'm going to work on this probably a little bit offline. Maybe I'll do it online. And I'm going to try and simplify this entire versioning check to be just, hey, WinGet search finder shows this. WinGet version shows this. If this is lower, then go ahead and just run the update, which would be repair WinGet package manager. And I need to check that in like a stock setting just to make sure that works. So, yeah. Yeah, but it's really cool. Very cool command. I really like it. Get help, repair, full. Thanks, man. Thanks, Tim. You are a Chad. So you could go get help. And then we can read the entire white paper of it. So this will show you pretty much all the things. What we can do. And I think what we'll check is some variation of this command to get everything up to date. Or at the very least, maybe we do the first command is a WinGet install WinGet to try and update WinGet. And if that fails, then we try and do like a repair WinGet package manager latest force. And then that should fix WinGet. Because I know there was a version, I think it was 23 or 24H2, that the stock image actually had a broken WinGet. And if that would fix it here, that would be great. We're going to try a couple different installs and see what we can replicate before we go with a version. So I deleted the dev branch today. I know I wanted to get one of those out, but I really want to get WinGet in a decent state so it'll install on almost everybody's Windows packages without having much of a fuss. We'll see on Windows 12. Bated breath. I don't have high hopes, but you never know. Microsoft, sometimes it's every other one that usually they do something good. So we'll see. You know, there's Windows Vista before 7, and then there's Windows 8 before 10, and then, well, we're on Windows 11. So we'll see what Windows 12 holds. Yep. Thanks, guys. All right, I'm out of here. I will see you guys in the next one. Heck, it might be later tonight. I might just get in a wild hair and just be like, I'm going to stream it. And if not, I'm going to try and get an update either today or tomorrow. And then I wanted to record a video soon too, but I'm not going to record a video until this is good. It's tested on a variety of systems from Windows 10 to Windows 11 and different versions of both. And then once I'm like, okay, WinGet's working perfect, new package manager, the new UI is working good, no bugs, then we'll go live with it into the dev branch. I think I just jumped the gun a little bit today. That's why I deleted that dev build. And yeah, get this fixed in the next day or two, and we should have a March version. That'll be pretty awesome. So thanks again. Big shout out. Thanks again, Tim. That was amazing, man. I appreciate the heads up. That is going to save my bacon big time, and also give me kind of a fallback in case WinGet kind of craps out on me, because I know that does happen on some older versions of Windows when it was kind of getting implemented. All right, y'all. Peace.